disrupted.
America that I fought.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. It's been a fantastic day so far. So I don't know if people remember, just recently we did a video with about Jon Stewart going after Tucker Carlson because Tucker Carlson was saying things about, Russia and how, people in Moscow, how they live. And one of the big things was the subway. One of the big things was mass transit compared to the United States and Western countries compared to Russia. And Jon Stewart remarked in comments saying that, oh, it's the price of freedom, that we have to live in these urine-soaked hellholes of mass transit to get away from Russia and Vladimir Putin. And I just want to show something to the Jon Stewart people, that the little price of freedom in your subway terminals, this is just how far the price of freedom has gone to, folks. And you tell me how kind of intrusive this has become. So this is in a New York City subway. This is a New York City subway. Watch this. There's National Guardsmen. There's Army. There's people checking bags. Look at that. Container inspection. Container inspection on a New York City subway. That is how bad things are, folks. It's the price of freedom that you have to live like it's the TSA in your own backyard. Boy, if you thought air travel was just enough, wait till it gets to mass transit, subway systems, bus terminals. No matter where you go, you will always have some sort of police state following you. It's great. The price of freedom. It even says backpacks containers are subject to inspection prior to entering the mass transit system. Individuals may refuse to permit inspection and elect not to enter the system. Individuals will not be permitted access to the system with uninspected containers. Individuals who refuse the container search and later attempt to enter the system will be uninspected with the uninspected container are subject to arrest. Imagine trying to talk to your employer. If you're a commuter on a New York City subway, imagine calling up your employer saying, hey, I'm going to be a couple minutes late because they're inspecting my lunch. My Ziploc container is being held ransom by police. It's amazing how far things have gone. And yet we still have people like Jon Stewart and others in the higher-up liberal and higher-up sphere, on both the left and the right, that are angry at Russia and their mass transit because, oh my God, it looks like it's so chaotic. It looks like a museum. But we can't have that because the price of freedom is this. This is unbelievable. There's four of them. There's four people to look into one bag. You could definitely tell they're city employees. 4 stooges to do one job. That's how you tell they work for the city. Oh, good to know Ranger Ned came back from Jellystone Park there. What? Why? Why? This just seems so emptiness. This just seems, it's so paranoia. It's so paranoia. It's just so crazy that they had to have National Guards people dressed in camo, holding bulletproof vests and rifles for people to commute inside New York City. That is America, folks. That is the state of America. I wish they addressed this in the State of the Union. That your free, loving, patriotic country is now a police state hellhole, that you can't even commute to work in New York City without a cease and search. We have to have stop and frisk, at every point of transit. That's the freedom-loving, patriotic country that you have, America. Coming to a neighborhood near you. And that is all because of one particular governor, Kathy Hochul, or Hochul, whatever the hell the name is, who says Democrats fight crime as well. According to this political ad. Hochul fends off criticism after deploying National Guards to subways. Governor Kathy Hochul to deploy 1,000 National Guard and state police officers has drawn criticism from both Democrats and Republicans. It's amazing. It's amazing that a police state is getting criticism on both sides. It's almost like it's intrusive to privacy. It almost turns it into some sort of, you know, totalitarian kind of country that we were supposed to avoid. We're supposed to be protective of freedoms. Well, what exactly are we protecting freedoms in this? So, Governor Kathy Hochul is fielding criticism on her left and right flanks while touching off a rift with New York City's tough-on-crime mayor after deploying the National Guard to fight crime on city subways. Left-leaning Democrats called a plan to increase passenger bag checks and overreach. Republicans accuse Hochul of failing to adequately address crime. And a high-ranking New York police official who reports to Mayor Eric Adams, who's the mayor, unleashed a barrage of criticism Thursday. Our transit system is not a war zone. Bag checks have been around since 2005. New York Police NYPD Chief Patrol John Schell posted on X. Schell argued driving down transit crimes requires toughening bail laws and dispatching more NYPD officers to the subways. Bail laws are determined in Albany, and Schell made the point of attributing additional officers to the mayor, a former transit cop himself. But here's where the governor steps into this. She was interviewed on some morning show, and listen to what she says about how she needs to get tougher on crime because the Democrats are just as much a Republican. Because let's not forget, it was the Democrats in the 90s that created mass incarceration, that increased it through Bill Clinton. Out of all people, it took the saxophone, blowjob-loving Bill Clinton to mass incarcerate more and double the prison population and create the 1994 racist crime bill. So, yeah, Democrats can be tough on crime if they actually cared about the crime, which they're not actually reporting. But anyway, here's what the governor had to say about this.
About feelings and emotion. We have had a series of high-profile crimes that have shaken the security of New Yorkers. Statistically, it's not what it used to be. It's better, much better. But I'm not going to talk about statistics. I'm going to talk about feelings and emotions and the psychology of a city. I want more people on the subways. We're not quite back to the pre-pandemic levels. And if people are feeling unsafe and won't come, then I have to do something about it and work with our mayor. The mayor already deployed 1,000 more NYPD. That was a great move. He has the primary responsibility for policing our subways. But I also have assets that I can bring to just calm down the fever right now. Because when you have a subway conductor with his throat slashed, and I spoke to the doctor who saved him yesterday, it's extraordinary, and another conductor hit with a glass bottle.
That was like, what, just an hour after you made this announcement yesterday?
Exactly.
So, because a conductor got hit with a glass bottle, is that now the outcome to ban glass bottles? Is that why we're looking through purses and bags for glass bottles? I'm just curious because, as you know, many people are aware, and this is the unfortunate truth. Anything can be used as a weapon. I hate to break the news to you. It's not just handguns and switchblades, folks. Anything can be used as a weapon. So should we just ban everything from these subways because of unfortunate incidents? Should we delegate ourselves to some sort of stop and frisk because of an unfortunate incident that happened with a glass bottle? Because if it wasn't a glass bottle, It'd be a toothpick or a toothbrush or anything, a frying pan. It could be change. Who knows? Anything can be used as a weapon. Anything. We've all seen action movies. We've all seen different crime and tell. We have seen those reports. The unstrange, murders of unsuspecting weapons. We've all seen that. So this idea that we're deploying so many National Guardsmen, more police officers, which we've been doing for how many years, has it actually deteriorated crime? No. No. We're just putting more money to a situation that's just making it worse. It's not helping the situation. We're not deteriorating crime. We're not lowering the crime. They say that they are, but they're not actually reporting on the crime. You just even heard her say it's not about the statistics. We're not even looking at that. Well, then how do you know you're fighting crime? How do you know if you're fighting crime if you're not looking at the numbers? This is crazy. This is unbelievably crazy.
Guess what? If we're going to take some strong action, there's no search and frisk. There's no stop and frisk. There's no profiling. All this is a deterrent, saying, you want to commit a crime? Go somewhere else,
okay,
not on our subway.
So you're going to have the National Guard there, and they're going to search bags?
Randomly.
Randomly.
There is a statistical...
What happens if you don't want your bag searched?
Then go home. We're not going to search you. You can say no, but you're not taking the subway.
How are you going to enforce that? I mean, it's hard to get people to pay the fare right.
I can't believe, and again, Jon Stewart would say this is the price of freedom. Hey, if you don't like getting searched and violated of your privacy, then get the hell out of here. The price of freedom, folks. America. God bless you. I'm now curious now, and if someone actually has the report, please comment below. How many crimes have been committed on Moscow mass transit or any other subway system outside of the West? European countries, Norway, Denmark, like any of those mass transit systems. I'm curious how much of a shift there is on the crime statistics of mass transit. And you know what's interesting is they'll actually look at those statistics and they'll look at the population and maybe actually do something to deteriorate crime. Like, I don't know, provide health care, provide housing. Maybe get the mentally ill people in a safe location and not out in the streets. Those would be, actually ways to prevent more crimes from happening. But God knows we can't actually prevent crimes from happening. We need more crimes to happen because obviously we need more of a police state. We need more authoritarianism. So we got to keep the wackos and crazies out in the open. With apparently glass bottles, the new weapon of the day. God, it just seems like yesterday they were, complaining about Gatorades aboarding airplanes because Gatorade can actually make a bomb, apparently. So they'd say.
Right now, you still have so many people evading fares.
Well, guess where these individuals are positioned? Right near the turnstiles. So you want to look in the eye of a police officer or an MTA transit police or a National Guard and still skip the fare? Go ahead.
There's so many entrances to every subway station. Yeah. How do you patrol this? I mean, do you have someone stationed at every entrance? Do you have select entrances?
Oh my God.
We are.
That was like a Clint Eastwood moment. Go ahead. Stare right into the officer's eyes. I dare you. If you can't afford fares, I dare you to stare in that officer's eyes and get on this bus. By the way, with the amount of money that we send overseas to corrupt nations, we could provide fares for everybody for the rest of their lives. We could make mass transit free. Transportation free for people to access. You think that would actually be a smart idea? You pay your taxes to upgrade it and keep it in service. Why not? They do in other countries. Why not?
Looking at the main transit hubs where the most people come to, we're going for volume to supplement the NYPD's efforts throughout the whole system. And the other element is we're going to have cameras on every single subway.
Oh, God. I can't wait till the day they introduce, AI face recognition software and those robotic dogs into the subway. They're so cute and lifeless. Holy crap. The age we live in, folks. The age we live in, folks. And people will still say this is the price of freedom. This is how you got to live. Because you shouldn't have anything to hide. That's the price of freedom. You should not be hiding your information. If you have something to hide, then clearly you're some sort of suspect. I thought it was supposed to be innocent till proven guilty. It turns out you're guilty till proven innocent. That's the patrioticness of America. So that was the governor, ladies and gentlemen. That was Governor Kathy Hochul on a morning program explaining her in a Clint Eastwood style Western, motif of why we need to deploy more of these National Guardsmen and police officers to deteriorate crime that we've been trying to do for how many years? And it still has not worked. And here's CNN's take on this, because CNN went a totally different direction compared to the governor. And this is actually kind of interesting. Take a listen.
Joining us now. Okay, so the National Guard shows up. Highly unusual situation in the New York subway. What can they do? Are they there as a presence, or can they actually do some effective law enforcement if they're called?
Well, they're there as a visible deterrent. Here are government people in army uniforms with, machine guns. But that's about all they can do. They'll do the bag checks. Now, why are the bag checks useful? They may come up with a gun in a bag, a knife in a bag for someone who wasn't expecting to get caught in a bag check. But most of the crooks I know don't carry their gun or their knife in their bag.
Oh, dear God. So, ladies and gentlemen, the kicker of this story is that all these National Guardsmen that are deployed to make everything look scary and warlike and deter people away from horrific crimes can't actually do anything on crimes. So if someone actually commits a crime on a New York subway, they can't do anything. They can't do anything. So what exactly is the point of this? What exactly is the point of taking National Guards people that usually come out when there's a bad storm, or I know the National Guard was part of COVID when they were running out of medical professionals because they fired a bunch of the nurses there. Surprise, surprise. What exactly is the intention of bringing all the National Guards people to New York City subways to scare people off, and then when a crime actually does happen, they can't do anything? They can't do anything. They have the policing, like mall security has more police power than a National Guardsman. That's sad. That's goddamn sad. And they're even admitting it on television. They're even admitting to it. That there's nothing they can do. Nothing.
So that'll be useful, but they're not going to be able to chase criminals. They're not going to be making arrests. If somebody runs up to them and said, I just got robbed and he went that way, they're probably not going to chase him, because if they catch him, they don't know what to do, and they don't really know the system. So a lot of this is the scarecrow effect, but it might make some people feel better and make some people feel apprehensive seeing soldiers in the subway.
Right, you seeing these sort of, like, the army has come in.
We could probably also do the same thing with a cardboard cutout of the Terminator. Like, that's all the intention is, just to scare people? If it really is to scare people, first of all, you've done it. And all you've done is made crime worse. You made the paranoia increase so that crime will also increase and follow with that paranoia. Because that literally how it gets exploited. You don't actually prevent crimes from happening when you scare the bejesus out of people. You exploit those crimes to then go after individuals and siphon away their rights. Which is exactly what the Patriot Act did. The Patriot Act exploited people on 9/11 to then not do mass surveillance on people. You gave up your rights and freedoms, and they told you it was to prevent terrorism. Did we actually stop terrorism? No. God, no. Because if we prevented terrorism, then we can't fight wars on terror. Then we can't have business on fighting wars on terror. Just like crime prevention. We're not going to prevent crimes. We're going to keep them happening and exploit them even further, because then we can do on crime. Wow. It is sad. It is sad. It's come down to this.
With their guns, and you're wondering what the heck is going on.
It's like one of those movies.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what happened for this to occur, if you haven't been keeping up with all that's been going on. I'm curious what the NYPD thinks of the National Guard coming in, because as you say, if they cannot do any effective law enforcement, they are just a deterrent, then the people that they will have to call is the NYPD, correct?
Right. So there's perception and there's reality. But you know, perception is reality if you're a subway rider.
Right.
If you don't feel safe, you're not safe. Crime is actually lower than it was before the pandemic. The grand larceny numbers, that's somebody taking somebody's phone or stealing a sleeping passenger's wallet out of a bag, that's up, I think, 13%.
Right.
But the percentages sound like crime is up. The numbers are actually very small. You've got a system with 3 million people in it, and the crimes are in the hundreds, not the thousands. If there was a city of 3 million that had these crime numbers, they'd be one of the safest cities in the country. It's the...
By the way, ignore the numbers that are stated there, because they're cooking the books with this. Even though they're saying that crime has lowered after the pandemic, the thing that they don't tell you is that because there's so much corruption within the policing industry, because there's so much corruption within, they can't even calculate the proper statistics on crime. That's the big thing. They can't actually properly have numbers to tell you how much crime there is. All these numbers that they're telling you, oh, it's down and the percentage is down and this number is up and this number is down. It's all a estimate. It's all make-believe. They don't actually have proper statistics. Again, because they want to take those crimes and exploit people from them. They want to exploit the crime rate to make you paranoid enough to give up your individual rights so that you commuting on a subway is now a cease and assist and going after and stopping and frisking them. Because we got to search people's backpacks. We got to search people's purses. We got to inspect containers. God forbid someone attacked me with a Ziploc bag. Wow. And what is this all intended for? Nothing. It's a show. It's to make you feel like somehow deep down this is making you safe, but really it's worse. And is this really the price of freedom compared to other subway systems around the world? Compared to Moscow, where Tucker Carlson said it's like walking through a museum, where they actually spend money to increase and invest the safety of their mass transit system, where they actually take the time to look at their crime statistics and find a way to deter crimes. They actually take the time to look at crime prevention, preventing crimes from actually being committed. America does not do that. America just exploits their crimes as a business opportunity. Because, hey, if we bring the National Guardsmen in and then we search people's bags, next thing you know, we can have AI cameras and then some security company will come in and, hey, we'll have a private military show up. Who knows? And does that actually stop criminals? No. No, it's probably going to take those criminals and put them on the bus. Put them in taxis. They're going to commit crimes whether you like it or not. Because none of this is actually preventing the crime from being committed. This is just sad. This is just an absolute oligarchical takedown of just commuting. It's so goddamn crazy. So goddamn crazy. But yet, it's even more crazier because people will still look at this and say, well, this is definitely the cost to be an American. I feel safer knowing that we're living in a total fascist state. Like, why don't you just ask them for their papers? Why don't we just stop people in the middle of the street, ask for their papers? Is that where it's coming down to? Is that where it's coming down to make people safer? Oh my God. Well, I guess this is definitely a good time. This is a good PSA. Say take the bus. Take the bus before this happens to the bus system. Because they're just going to keep going on with this. Again, not to prevent crime. It's to exploit the crimes so that they become the unruly, unhaven criminals stopping, frisking you just from commuting in and around New York City. The price of freedom.